Good morning, everybody. Hey, Dan Kindell here, your anxiety relief guy. And we're going live on Facebook today, but this is going to be broadcast over YouTube and on my podcast. So, welcome. And if you're new to me and you're listening or watching for the first time, make sure you subscribe, make sure you rate, and make sure you leave a comment and also share with other people around you, because this is insight that I think can help a lot of people. Today I'm going to be talking about resolving traumas and tragedy. I can't tell you how many people have been reaching out to me recently who have gone through really severe traumas and really awful tragedies. I've been getting a lot of referrals from psychologists, psychiatrists, from therapists, from doctors, of people who are transitioning out of traumas, or they've experienced traumas in the past that still come back and influence them today. So if you're joining, make sure you like or send me a heart, send me some sort of love, so that way I know that you're getting something from this. If you're watching the replay of this on YouTube or you're listening to this on my podcast, welcome, welcome, welcome. So excited to have people listening and watching the Anxiety Relief Revolution. So here's what happens. And I actually had several phone calls yesterday and today about people who have gone through traumas and tragedies. And speaking of traumas, I had a mini trauma last night. Now, spiders do not bother me. First and foremost, I'm not afraid of spiders. And good morning, Richard Nongard, my friend. So I was taking a nice relaxing bath last night, a salt bath and bubble bath. And it's one of my favorite things to do when the weather starts getting colder. So I'm in the bathtub, and I only have like a little light on, because I like to, when I take a bath, I like it to be dark. I play some really nice like chill music and just kind of use it as like a meditation time. And all of a sudden, I'm like, I have a towel supporting my head, and I'm like naked in the bathtub as one should be. And all of a sudden, I feel this thing like going up my face toward my ear. And I was thinking maybe it's a droplet of water, but a droplet of water wouldn't travel up. A droplet of water would travel down. So I'm thinking to myself in this like split second moment of thought, that feels like water, but water would be traveling the other direction. So all of a sudden, I feel this thing like crawling into my ear, and I'm like, oh my gosh, and I did that. And I stood up out of the water and I did that. And then I saw this spider that was like weaving a web on my ear. And when I did this, the spider kind of flew off the web, and it landed. And it landed someplace I never, ever wanted a spider to land. The spider landed, let me say that again. The spider landed someplace I never wanted a spider to land. Think about that. And let me ask you a question. What would you do if a spider landed on your snack that smiles back? What would you do if a spider landed on a place that no spider should ever be? What would you do? Because even though I'm not afraid of spiders, spiders are just part of the world, right? Even though I'm not afraid of spiders, when a spider lands there, you become really, really nervous. So that happened. So last night, after a spider landed there, no, Jose, the spider didn't land on my mouth. The spider landed down there. So when the spider landed down there, I was like, and I'm like, I start like hitting myself down there to try and get the spider off. And I'm like trying to get the spider off. And then it literally was like somebody like punched me in the, so, so here I am, like standing up, I go, oh my God, and I'm like, if somebody were watching me right now, they'd get a really nasty picture in their head. Like if someone were watching me through the window, I can only imagine what they thought I was doing. So yes, my friends, finally the spider ended up falling off the spider fell off of my snack that smiles back, and it fell in the water, and I pulled the plug on the bathtub, and it went down the drain. Bye-bye, Mr. Spider. So you never know what's going to be traumatic to somebody. You never know what's going to cause a trauma, and you never know what's going to be tragic to people. And Gina Goodwin asked if I'm sore today. Well, I'm not sore there, but I am sore in my mouth. Now, let me tell you why. I went to the dentist yesterday for the second time to get some reconstructive work done because my bottom teeth were severely chipped because I had like an overbite. So I had reconstructive work done on my teeth where they actually like rebuilt my teeth. So now they look nice. They look like actual teeth, not daggers. So that was pretty good. And I feel a little bit from the needles. And yes, I did hypnotize myself while they were doing the dental work, which was pretty cool. So anyway, back to traumas and tragedies. Unfortunately, I've been working with people who have experienced a lot of very tragic deaths in their personal life, in their families, where unfortunately people have died tragically in one way or another. And sometimes what happens is it causes these fears and anxieties to manifest, especially if things are lying underneath the surface that haven't been processed. So one of the things I help people do in working with traumas, I help them process those emotions that are lying underneath the surface that they might not even know are there. The second thing that I help them do, I help them freeze the trauma and the tragedy so there's no emotional response to it. Because what happens is people will play the picture in their head of that tragedy. They'll just keep replaying it in their mind, and they'll feel really, really anxious or really stressed about it. And when they feel anxious and stressed, it holds them back in other parts of their life. They might start to have panic attacks. They might start to have really dark thoughts or worries. And that's usually when people are sent to me by therapists or psychologists or doctors or psychiatrists. And so one of the methods I help people do is help them literally float out of the picture of the trauma, kind of freeze it. So that way, when they think of it again, they think of it just like they would any other picture that has no emotional attachment to it. So essentially what we're doing is we are unplugging the emotions from the trauma and tragedy. Now, what this means for that person, if they no longer feel the emotions, the negative emotions, and we accelerate that process, then all of a sudden they can start living their lives better. They can start sleeping better, because one of the things that traumas and tragedies cause when people go through them, it causes sleep issues. So they start sleeping a lot easier. They start feeling a lot better. They start being more productive. They start living happier and healthier lives. They might take better opportunities. They might form better relationships with people. So when a person goes through a trauma or a tragedy, those underlying emotions that have been affecting them really cause more trauma, more tragedy, causes more turmoil in their life. So by teaching a person how to detach from that and unplug the emotional intensity from the trauma and look at it just like any other thought in their mind, we can't erase it. And I want to be clear with this. When I'm working with people who have traumas and tragedies, I'm not deleting it from their memory bank, because they'll still remember it happened. They'll just be thinking about it differently, and they'll be, I wouldn't say feeling better about it, because I don't think you should feel good about a trauma, but they'll be feeling more neutral about it, so that way it no longer holds them back. So it's almost like we're cutting the ties with that trauma to release the emotions from the trauma and move forward with how a person wants to feel instead. So one of the ways I do this is I ask a person, okay, before we sever the ties with the trauma, and I use a lot of hand gestures because I think one of the ways that the subconscious mind speaks is in symbols, metaphors, and images. So I'll say, before we sever the ties with that trauma. And when I do this, I say, before we sever the ties with that trauma, and then I do that, which symbolizes we're pushing it away. And the language that I use is before we sever the ties with that trauma and push it over there. I'm using a presupposition. So I am using phraseology that tells the client we are going to sever the ties with the trauma and push it over there. So I do that, and I said, but before we sever ties with the trauma and we push it over there, and you start feeling better now. I say, and as we start feeling better now, which again is an embedded hypnotic command, I'll ask the person, how would you like to feel different about that instead of how you've been feeling? And I use all this hypnotic language, and what that does, it helps put in the person's subconscious mind that they're going to be changing this, that they're going to have more control over it. And it's that little tidbit right there is a really powerful pivotal moment for the client. And the change is happening there, and they don't even realize it yet. So when I work with people who have those experiences or who have had those experiences, we're layering different hypnotic principles and techniques, so that way, after what seems like just a conversation, they're already feeling better because their mind is in a much more resourceful state. And then when I actually do the conventional relaxation hypnosis with them, that's to solidify that the change has occurred, and it's to rewire the mind on that different, deeper subconscious level. And I'll tell people, I'm like, while I'm talking to you in hypnosis, you might be thinking, this is freaking ridiculous. Like, this isn't going to work. Like, I tell people, you might be thinking about that. And then all of a sudden, when you open your eyes at the end, you'll make this pivotal shift, and you're like, wow, I actually do feel better about that. And on top of that, I'm teaching people strategies that stop those negative emotions in their tracks. And it's like it's pushing them away, pushing it away, pushing it away, pushing it away until they disappear altogether. So with that said, that's a little background and insight into some trauma and tragedy. So we went on an emotional roller coaster today, my friends. We started serious, we got goofy, we got more technique based, we got more serious, and can we get goofy again? I don't know how we top the spider falling on my snack that smiles back. I don't know how we top that in level of goofiness. But so let me know. I've been sporting my glasses a little bit more. I have an eye doctor appointment coming up. What do you guys think? Do you all think glasses or no glasses? What do you all think? Let me know in the comments section. Glasses or no glasses? And I promise I won't be offended. I won't be offended. I have people that tell me all the time, oh, you look smarter with glasses. I have people that tell me all the time, oh, we like you better without glasses. So it's not going to offend me. So glasses or no glasses, what do you think? Especially in videos, because sometimes the videos, if I'm wearing glasses, sometimes they reflect the light and it can get, now they're okay. But anyway, I'm just rambling on. With that said, my friends, if you'd like to work with me, if you'd like to reach out, I do have a waiting list. I have a waiting list that is pretty extensive, but I will be honest with you, the wait, it is worth the wait. So if you'd like to work with me or you know somebody who does, then go to my website, dancandel.com. I just updated my entire website, so there's a lot of new links and resources on there. I have a anxiety relief quick start, which actually shows people into my system. It gives some background and insight into people who have worked with me, and I reveal a little bit more about how I work with people. Jose loves his glasses, and Jose, thank you, gracias, mi amigo. Hey, ¿cómo estás? How's Peru, my friend? I still would love to go to Peru, and Jose is a friend from Peru. and I really still want to go to Peru. So I have friends from all over the world. So I have someone from people from Australia watching as well live today. So thank you everyone for joining live. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate you all watching and sharing the videos. Please share this message with other people, because I think people need a little humor. They also need a little bit of seriousness, and to see that it is possible to resolve these things. So with that said, my friends, as always, be well, do good, be true to who you are. And you know what? Stay sexy, cupcakes. Talk to y'all soon.